Josh Walkos put up a thread that caused me not only to fall out of my chair onto the floor, but to get back into my chair, start reading again, and fall out a second time. It's that crazy. So let us take a look at Josh's thread. I am incidentally going to suggest Josh is somebody who has done a lot of really interesting investigative work. I have periodically retweeted things of his. I think they're very worthy, and I would personally appreciate it, and I'm sure Josh would appreciate it, if you found his Twitter handle and followed him. He also has a Substack. So he's at Josh Walkos, JoshWalkos, and you can check out this incredible thread, which frankly should spread like wildfire, which it hasn't done yet.
It's remarkable.
Yes, it's remarkable. Now, maybe we should just start reading the thread, and then I will introduce some things.
Okay.
Can you do it? Yeah,
Sure.
that'd be great.
Mega thread from Josh Walkos. Inside Toka and the new age of frictionless surveillance. Toka is an Israeli cyber intelligence company backed by Andreessen Horowitz that sells its technology exclusively to governments, militaries, intelligence agencies, and law enforcement. Leaked internal documents revealed Toka's technology can reportedly locate cameras, remotely access them, watch live feeds, and even alter live or previously recorded footage while concealing evidence the system was compromised. Yes, they can alter live or previously recorded footage while concealing evidence the system was compromised. I wonder where that ability could come in handy. The stated purpose for altering footage? Quote, masking of on-site activities during covert operations. In other words, imagine an intelligence team conducting an operation inside a hotel or perhaps a college campus covered in security cameras. Instead of disabling the cameras, they can allegedly compromise them, alter what they record, and leave behind footage that doesn't show what actually happened. Toka calls this new world, quote, frictionless surveillance. Nothing concerning about intelligence agencies possessing the ability to secretly rewrite the video evidence of their own operations.
Okay, so let's pause here. What's on the screen is a screenshot from a Haaretz, which is an English language Israeli newspaper publication, revealing the technology that is being sold by this Israeli company called Toka. Now, this is fascinating. If you go to Haaretz to look at this article, can you scroll down, Jen? So here you have the title of the article, "This dystopian cyber firm could have saved Mossad assassins from exposure." Now scroll down. That is the sum total of what is there.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. There's a whole article.
I know, but that's an archive. This is the Haaretz site.
Well, yes, but the archive is what Josh links to.
Right. But my point is, there's something very interesting. This article came out in 2022. Mm-hmm. I am shocked that we have not yet had a broad discussion. We've been talking about flock cameras and the danger that might exist because these ostensible license plate readers could be repurposed for surveillance of the population walking around in public.
Shallow end of the pool.
That is the shallow end of the frickin' pool. Okay. This, what we have is a company marketing its own technology that it says can be used to hack into effectively the entire Internet of Things. That is to say, cameras and microphones that exist in the world, cars. Their technology allows them to access those things, and not only to tap into whatever is being generated by those things, but apparently to disable them, or even to alter the feed that they are producing. So we've all seen movies like this. The Haaretz article, when you delve into it, talks about Ocean's 11, where criminals use a fake feed pointed at a phony vault to trick the security folks who are watching the vault into thinking that nothing is taking place, right? All very clever. We get it. But here we have a company offering this as a service. And imagine as Josh gets to in his thread, imagine this being paired with this massive network of Flock and other brands of license plate readers that are anywhere and everywhere. Now, reason I fell out of my chair when I read this.
Oh, was that what happened?
Yes, that's what that thud was.
Yeah.
And then that thud another 30 seconds later, that was the second time. The reason that I fell out of my chair was just thinking about the crazy arguments that we are having over things like the Epstein prison surveillance cameras being offline at the critical moment, or the fact that we are fighting over weirdly isolated bits of CCTV footage relative to the Charlie Kirk case. Now, I'm not saying that Toka has been involved in something in either of those two instances, but what I am saying is, hey, here you've got a company proudly portraying a technology that if you introduced it broadly, I mean, here's a good idea. Maybe this technology should never be in the wrong hands. Because, like, if it were, then, like, they could commit any crime they felt like committing and get off scot-free because the surveillance footage would falsify the hypothesis that they had committed the crime. So this is like the end of criminal jurisprudence with respect to anybody who can access this technology.
As Josh says in this AI-generated image at the top of his tweet thread, they don't just watch you, they decide what you remember. And that's, that's an extrapolation, but that's exactly what this capacity will facilitate.
Yes, this is the ability to, and I've been worried about scripting history in a million different ways. There are lots of features about scripting history. There's certainly the Orwellian concept of memory holing things so that you lose access. But this is another level because we human beings, I mean, as in our earlier discussion today, we human beings are used to having the ability not to know that what our eyes saw is literally accurate. Eyes can be fooled. There are optical illusions. Different eyewitnesses to the same event will have seen different things. There's no doubt there's a lot of wiggle room in the idea that your eyes are simply perceiving literal reality. But they are about the best thing going. And the ability to figure out what did happen based on what multiple witnesses actually saw happen is crucial. But we are not equipped for the technological part of this, where...
No, we're barely equipped for the organic part of it. We know that we deceive ourselves. And as soon as we hear a story that sounds more compelling, we update our own and don't necessarily know that we did so. That's the organic part. That's the part that we are supposedly equipped for. With technological interference, there's no hope, really.
No, the ability to actually create false memories for profit is an inhuman level of power. Now, they say this company, an Israeli company that has now moved to Maryland, interestingly, says it will only contract with governments. I don't know how much comfort I take from that.
Zero at this point.
Right. So, the point is, okay, you are augmenting the two-tier civilization that we already have, where there are laws for us little people, and then there are standards for the power players, and they are radically different. And, this is, at least the wokes are dumb and incapable. Okay? These people are highly capable. So this company, Toka, was founded, one of its founders is Ehud Barak.
Yeah.
Ehud Barak, which...
And is a former Israeli prime minister.
Former Israeli prime minister, yeah. Long time ago, soldier from the 40s, becomes prime minister of Israel.
Lefty-ish.
Yep, lefty-ish. Has an Epstein connection that is like numerous interactions. And in fact, there is, you want to show that Forbes article? There's a Forbes article. Let's see.
Looks like the one.
Yeah, Forbes article talking about Ehud Barak, and it talks about tech investments. And I sent you a screenshot. Do you have the screenshot from the Forbes article talking about Ehud Barak pitching Jeffrey Epstein on? So here we have.
Read it.
Yeah, you want to read that?
This is from a Forbes article. I didn't catch when. He also sought Epstein's help, he being Barak, former Israeli Prime Minister Barak, who was one of the founders of Toka. He also sought Epstein's help with Tel Aviv-based surveillance business Toka just before Barak publicly launched it in July 2018 with $12.5 million in funding from the likes of Andreessen Horowitz. While there's no evidence Epstein invested, Barak suggested the financier could promote Toka to his government contacts, writing, quote, "You can use it vis-a-vis senior officials or heads. It is built for governments as clients."
So, okay, here you have former Prime Minister of Israel in the founding of this company trying to sell it to Epstein, a notorious criminal who obviously was violating the most basic agreements that we have in civilization. How far that goes is a matter of debate, but nonetheless, that's an amazing thing to find connected there. And to find, how surprising is it that this story was apparently out in, it was full-fledged in 2022, 4 years ago.
Yeah, and it was 8 years ago that we've got the Epstein connection being published in Forbes.
Yeah,
this is the first time hearing about it.
Right. So weird that this story has not been prominent in our thinking as we were looking at the Epstein supposed suicide and the strange failure of the cameras that would potentially have shed light.
And the general rise in the surveillance state.
The general rise of the surveillance state. This 2022 article, which both does and does not exist in the world. You can find it on the archive, but you can't find it on Haaretz's site. How many weeks have we been talking about flock cameras? And nobody said, by the way, did you know that there's an Israeli company that's selling governments the ability to find the feed of any camera connected to the internet and alter it seamlessly? Like, how did that not come up everywhere? And why is it that when you go to Haaretz that the article isn't there? There's literally no information in that article beyond what's hinted at in the title. It's one paragraph and it says nothing. Mm-hmm. So I'm just stunned. I'm not stunned that somebody would attempt to create this technology. Yeah. I am stunned that in light of the fact that this is well underway, involves investors that we know well, and I should say, in the interest of full disclosure, I do know Mark Andreessen. I'm surprised to find him here. I know him as somebody who is deeply concerned about the rights of citizens, and this strikes me as exactly the sort of thing that would alarm him. So I don't know what's going on with Andreessen Horowitz. There is also a weird thing reported in TechCrunch. They also put out an article. So here's the article. A16Z, that's Andreessen Horowitz, backed Toka, wants to help U.S. agencies hack into security cameras and other IoT devices. And then I sent you a screenshot from that. Okay. You want to read that?
But this kind of tech doesn't have to be limited to war zones. TechCrunch reported last month that A16Z's Ben Horowitz tried to donate funds to the Las Vegas Police Department for purchasing Toka software. They didn't take him up on it, a Toka spokesman said.
So I don't even know what to make of this claim. I've not seen any denial of it. But Ben Horowitz...
in this article, this is an article from 2024.
Yep. Right? Ben Horowitz apparently tried to donate money to the Las Vegas Police Department to purchase this software for a company in which his company is a major investor.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to think about that. What does that mean? And I will also just say,
and a police department not accepting a donation of what would presumably be valuable is interesting in and of itself, and for me raises questions of what were the inside specifics on the donation. Were there strings? What were the strings?
What were the strings? Yeah, wouldn't you love to know what that conversation was? I mean, and it raises many questions. Is it legal to hack into these cameras and microphones and whatever else that just because they're connected to the internet? Presumably it isn't. If it is, obviously that should be that's a matter of concern. We should rule it out, and this company shouldn't have a business model because its business model would be illegal. But apparently nobody seems to have raised the question of whether or not this business model is legal. So presumably it is through some loophole in which, I mean, imagine, you've got a security camera. It's tied to the internet so you can monitor it without being physically sitting in a particular place. These people have the right to modify. Somebody breaks into your house. These people have the right to modify the output of your camera so you can't even see the output of some camera you bought to monitor your own property. Like, well, what planet are we living on? This is insane.
Yeah.